Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news is the manhunt that is underway right now at Central Michigan University and in Mount Pleasant. Breaking information just coming in after two parents are killed on campus, and police say it was their son who pulled the trigger.
Right now, the entire CMU campus is on lockdown as police search for a student.
And here we should all have a good close look at this picture. This is James Eric Davis Jr., 19 years old, a native of the Chicago area, and the active manhunt is on for him at this hour.
Police say Davis shot and killed both of his parents inside a dorm at Campbell Hall this morning. Campbell Hall is in an area known as the Towers Complex.
We're covering a number of angles on this story. Larry Spruill is on campus talking to the parents who, like this student's parents, were coming to pick their kids up for spring break. But let's start with Sean Lay, who's in Mount Pleasant with more on the manhunt. Sean.
Intense manhunt. Let me walk everyone through it. Campbell Hall, about a half mile into campus this way. We are on the northwest side of campus and off campus, where this was the focus all day long of a very intense manhunt. Door to door, car to car, but tonight that trail has gone cold. We know that the calm that is Central Michigan University was shattered this morning. The unthinkable happening, a double homicide inside a crowded dorm room. The suspected gunman, we have learned, is a CMU student. His name is James Eric Davis Jr. The victims, Davis's own mother and father, James Eric Davis Sr., who was a beloved police officer in the town of Bellwood, Illinois. His chief telling us this tragedy will severely impact his department. And Davis's own mother, Diva Davis, a breast cancer survivor.
The suspect is still at large.
Davis Jr. running after the shooting, dropping clothing around railroad tracks just off of campus. The campus and entire town of Mount Pleasant on lockdown. Dads like David Fountain rushing here to make sure his daughter McKenna was okay.
I've been in contact with her back and forth with texting and phone calls, and just told her to stay put in place, do exactly what the officers say to do. And I'm just on the outside here, so when everything's all clear, then I'll come in and get her.
Police, canines, MSP chopper, and federal agents all searching for the 19-year-old, going car to car, apartment to apartment, right where Haley Sorry lives with her roommate.
Me and my roommate were hiding in the bathroom for a while, though, because we saw someone outside our window, but we were just pretty much sitting there for like hours.
Reaction and heartbreak for these parents pouring in. Here, a state rep from Illinois, Chris Welch, tweeting, "The shooting at Central Michigan University today strikes close to home. A sad day in Bellwood and across the 7th District. My sincere condolences go out to the family of Bellwood police officer James Davis Sr. and his wife, who were shot and killed this morning. May they rest in peace." More with local students coming up at 6 o'clock. But let's get over to Larry Spruill. He's live on CMU's campus. Larry, it was stunning today to see the campus shut down and most of this town shut down.
That's right, Sean. The campus was shut down for hours, and just within the last 45 minutes or so, police held a second police briefing addressing the media about this shooting that locked this campus down. They tell me that more than 100 officers are now searching for Davis. Friday afternoon, police and campus officials held a second press conference addressing the media about the shooting at Central Michigan University Friday morning. Police officers covered the campus of Central Michigan University Friday morning looking for this man, 19-year-old James Eric Davis Jr. Investigators say he shot and killed two people inside this dorm room Friday morning. Police say the two victims were not students. Minutes after the shooting, campus officials sent out this robocall to students, letting them know about what happened.
The CMU Police Department is responding to a report of shots fired near the 4th floor area of Campbell Hall.
As of now, the suspect is still out there, and more than 100 officers are searching for Davis. Police say they had a run-in with him last night.
We had CMU police that dealt with him last evening, and at some point in the evening, he was transported over to U of M Health Systems on Pickard for an evaluation, which we believed was drug-related.
And I spoke with several students and parents tonight, and they tell me that they are worried and concerned because that suspect is still out there. Now, coming up tonight at 6, I asked the leaders here on this campus and the governor if this place were safe and if security measures should be made. I'll have that story coming up tonight at 6. We're live at Central Michigan University tonight. Larry Sproul, Local 4.
Larry, we heard that father talking about having to wait for the all clear to be able to get to his daughter. Are students being allowed to leave campus yet?
Well, Devin, somewhat. The people here at the campus are still addressing strong safety measures and security measures. Students inside those dorm rooms right now are allowed to be escorted out to the hotel where those parents are, but they have to be escorted by police officers. So they're taking from the campus here and taken to the hotel about a mile up the road, but they do have to be escorted by police. Devin?
A lot of logistics to figure out in that. All right, Larry. Now, Governor Snyder is in Mount Pleasant at this hour.
He talked about the tragedy on campus a short time ago at a news conference. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
We are all rallying together. This is about how we support one another during challenging and terrible times, and that's what this was. This was a terrible incident. It was an isolated incident, but we had 2 people that were killed in a residence facility. That's traumatic to the students, to the parents, to the staff, to the faculty, in this case the community, because this individual is still at large.
Which is why we are continuously updating the story online as new information comes into the newsroom. You can find all the links and the new information on the homepage of clickondetroit.com.
Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
Where has he gone? Mount Pleasant holding its breath as police search for a student they believe shot and killed his parents inside a Central Michigan University dorm. And that tops Local 4 News at 6. These terrifying events today at CMU.
And right now there's still no sign of the man police believe gunned down his own mother and father. The suspect, James Eric Davis Jr., 19 years old, a student at CMU. His parents were found shot to death inside Campbell Hall after what police are calling a domestic incident. A campus lockdown remains in place, but officers have begun to escort students and staffers from buildings on campus, many, in fact, leaving for spring break. Larry Sproul has been speaking with students about safety on campus, but first, let's get up to speed on the manhunt for James Eric Davis Jr. Sean Lay is following that part of the story for us. Sean?
Let's get the very latest, Sandra, on this investigation. CMU just updating us at the 6 o'clock hour saying this 19-year-old student, the suspected gunman, remains on the run. That's stunning because it was hours ago that police actually watched him on surveillance cameras as they reviewed those cameras, running down these tracks away from Campbell Hall and then running north on those tracks, dropping some of his clothing on the tracks as he was making his getaway. Now the intense manhunt has pushed far north off of campus.
And I got a call, and it was the robocall, and it said shots fired.
Monet Robinson is a CMU student from Romulus. Her mother back home in Metro Detroit so worried after her daughter told her there was an active shooter on campus. The campus and the town of Mount Pleasant, almost every business on lockdown.
It's taking them so long to find him, and they had us locked in the dorms. Like, we couldn't leave. My friend was stuck in the cafeteria. They wouldn't let her leave.
Next thing you know, we were bum rushed into the cafeteria, and they automatically locked the door. And then a lady came by and was like, stop what you're doing and follow me. So she took us to the back of the cafeteria and was like, there's a school shooting. So we were sitting back there for like 3 hours.
It was a school shooting, but a domestic shooting. 19-year-old James Davis Jr. is suspected of shooting his parents, James Sr. and mother Diva, inside Campbell Hall, right in front of Davis's roommate, a teen from Metro Detroit.
Attention CMU units. CMU units have a possible homicide. 212 West Broomfield Street at Campbell Hall. I believe they heard 5 shots.
Federal, state, and local police going door to door and car to car all day long, searching for Davis Jr., finding some of his clothing along railroad tracks. But tonight, that search continues.
I locked myself in the room, and I was good.
Back here live, I want you to take a look at your screen. New video just in to Local 4, shot by students from Metro Detroit. Sources telling us that is James Davis Jr.'s car being towed away under the authority of the police as they comb that car for evidence. Also, guys, I can tell you right now, MSP's chopper back up again in this area as they push their search for Davis further north of campus. I can also tell you police have gotten absolutely no calls and no tips and no sightings of Davis since that shooting, since they saw him running on these tracks. That's quite stunning. Back to you.
Yeah. All right, Sean. Now, as you would understand, a lot of CMU students and faculty right now talking about and wondering about campus safety.
Yeah, it's a legitimate concern. The school's official policy is that it's a gun-free zone, which the campus police describe this way.
Most of our buildings have access control, where you have to have an identification to get into our buildings. The towers have access control. We do not have metal detectors, but it is our policy that the students, staff, faculty cannot have weapons on our campus.
Let's go ahead and go live now to Larry Spruill with possible security changes coming after today. Larry?
Well, Sandra, students and parents have mixed reaction when it comes to safety here on campus. I asked the president if changes will be coming because, after all, this is a weapon-free campus, but yet a gun was here today.
At some point in the future, as we get through this, we will take a review of our processes, take a review of our policies and procedures. There's always opportunities to learn.
Changes may be coming to the campus of Central Michigan University, according to President George Ross. This change comes after police say this man, 19-year-old James Eric Davis Jr., shot his parents inside this dorm room Friday morning. Minutes after that shooting, the campus was placed on lockdown for hours as police covered the campus looking for Davis. CMU is a weapon-free campus, yet somehow Davis brought a gun on campus. The topic of security was front and center among parents, students, and even the governor Friday.
We were already active looking at what we can do on our campuses and our schools to protect people better. This reinforces the point. This is not simply about K-12. This is an outstanding university, and we need to include our campuses, our universities, and community colleges.
I do feel safe. I feel like the CMU police, they handled the situation as best as they could with as little time as they could.
This father has his doubts.
You know, unless you put gates all around the campus, how are you going to prevent it? You know, unless you have security, you know, watching every little move or more cameras, you know, you just can't prevent that.
And that is a very valid question, but security is still at the forefront here on campus. As of right now, students are being escorted by police to a hotel nearby. That's where they will be meeting their parents. We're live at Central Michigan University tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
And Larry, we see the shadows lengthening behind you, getting close to sunset there. What happens to the search then?
Well, Devin, police say they are worried that the suspect may continue further in his run as it gets dark, but they will continue their search until they find him.
All right, thank you so much, Larry. And obviously this is a developing situation. We are continuously updating this story for you online as we're getting new information coming into our newsroom. You can find several links, different links, also new information right there on our homepage on clickondetroit.com.
Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
Campus goes dark and quiet as more than 100 officers continue the manhunt for a gunman police say shot and killed his parents inside a dorm at Central Michigan University. We're glad you're with us tonight at 11. The search for that shooter in Mount Pleasant now going into its 15th hour.
In fact, a new picture released tonight of 19-year-old James Eric Davis Jr., who police say shot his parents, James Sr. and Diva Davis. The shooting caused the campus and the surrounding area to go on lockdown.
Late this evening, students and staff were allowed to leave campus, though with the help of police. The university has now canceled all of its classes for tomorrow as the manhunt continues.
Tonight, we're also hearing from the mother of suspected shooter's roommate. Mara McDonald will have that story for us. But we go ahead and begin tonight with Jermont Terry live in Mount Pleasant. Jermont?
Sandra and Devin, the mood here on campus is quiet. Sure, most students did leave for spring break this evening, but you know what? There is an urgency to find James Davis Jr. Now, he hasn't been spotted since the murders this morning, but as you mentioned, there are still officers from several police agencies looking to find this accused gunman. Friday night, Campbell Residence Hall is dark and quiet on the campus of Central Michigan University. It's here on the 4th floor where those now deadly shots went off, placing an entire campus and community on lockdown.
Got it stopped, and I don't know how to or how it's going to.
Students, not to mention worried parents like Lori Horton from Berkeley, tried their best to get in touch with one another.
As far as I know, they were in a hard lockdown in his room with his roommates, and he was safe.
Police personally escorted students to safe areas, which took time.
And they had us locked in the dorms. Like, we couldn't leave. My friend was stuck in the cafeteria.
This as police spent much of the day and well into the night looking for the student who they say opened fire inside the dorm, killing his mother and father. James Eric Davis Jr. took off running after he's accused of killing his parents right in front of his roommate.
They have to be horrific.
James Eric Davis Sr. was a police officer from Illinois. He and his wife, Diva Davis, were on campus to pick up their son. Their daughter took to Twitter saying, quote, "Today I lost my parents, the only people who loved me unconditionally. I'm thankful for every single thing they've done for me. All I ask is for everyone to keep me and the rest of my family in your prayers." Meanwhile, the strong police presence in and around campus will stay until they find Davis Jr., who is considered armed and dangerous.
They will not stop. They will be here working all night and continuing until we are able to locate the suspect.
And this evening, we can still hear helicopters flying above. We should point out that Davis was last seen running north of campus, but that was early this morning, and there hasn't been any sightings of him since. We do know investigators towed his car from the Campbell Hall parking lot, so they believe that he is likely wandering around somewhere on foot. Reporting live tonight, Jermont Terry, Local 4.
Yeah, and Jermont, I mean, he's been on the run for many, many hours at this point. Are you hearing anything at all from police about where they think that he might be hiding out, if he is indeed hiding out at this point?
And that's the thing, the big question, Sandra, is he still hiding out, or did he potentially do some harm to himself? I tried to figure out if there's been any reports of any carjackings or any disturbances in the community. Police are not releasing that information, so at this point, all they can know is that if an individual is on foot, that he could potentially get around this campus or in this city in those 15 hours, so they have to keep looking for him.
Yeah, the manhunt continues. All right, thank you, Jermont. Devin?
Jermont mentioned the roommate. One of Davis's roommates is from Metro Detroit and was in the suite when the shooting started, something he and his family are now trying to deal with tonight. Mara McDonald joins us live with that part of the story. Mara?
Devin, good evening. You know, Deborah Williams was at work this morning when her phone pings. None of this has hit the news yet. She looks down, sees it's a text from her son, and it says, "Mom, I think my roommate just shot his mom." Whew. Deborah Williams is holding it together tonight for the sake of her son Trayvon and their whole family.
When they finally were able to get out, he had to step over the father that was there. So it's going to be a lot we got to talk about over the week.
Her usually outgoing son, a scholar athlete, sat calmly but quietly this evening as the enormity of what he's been through washed over him.
I can see a difference in me right now. There's a total difference right now in him.
He was in the room when his roommate, James Davis Jr., shot and killed his parents, forced to shelter in place and then spending hours with investigators. And seeing the carnage, this college sophomore is almost statue-like tonight. Did his mom ever have a bad feeling about Davis?
Never. Not at all.
She hugged the breath out of him when police finally allowed her to see her son this afternoon. The ride home this evening was incomprehensible.
We talked about what he saw. We haven't really talked about how he's feeling right now.
Back here live, Williams tells me she's grateful it's spring break this week and that the kids have some time away from campus to decompress. As far as going back, she says they're going to have to play it by ear. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Amazing reflections from that mother. All right, Mara, we're going to continue to update you with new developments, both on air and online at clickondetroit.com.